Hi guys, and this is Joyce Knows Who Done It. This story is very interesting. This is not a celebrity story this time, but it is to me quite fascinating. I think you'll find it as well. This is the story of Susan Powell, a young lady that was born October 16th, 1981 in Alamogordo, New Mexico. And she was married to a young man by the name of Joshua Powell, who was born in Puyallup, Washington. I think that's how you say it, Puyallup, Washington. And he was born January 20th, 1976. Let me tell you a little bit about this very, very dysfunctional family story and what happened to Susan. So she married Joshua. Joshua was the son of Stephen and Teresa Powell. And the Powells were a member of the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or Mormon Church. The father and mother, however, divorced primarily because, first of all, the father was really addicted to porn. And he would share that porn with his other children. It was Joshua and a couple other siblings. Also, Stephen stopped attending the church. He stopped teaching the children about Mormon behavior. He just was completely out of control. I should have really looked into him, but I didn't look into him. But he was very disturbed. And the children were being raised in this environment. So much so that Joshua, for example, as a teen, was very menacing to animals, killing animals. As soon as they talking about killing animals, you know that it's a problem. He was killing animals. He had threatened his sister. He had threatened his mom with a knife, going to kill her. He'd even attempted suicide. And this is all as a teen. At some point, he decided that he was going to go to college. And he did. He left and he moved to Seattle. While he was in Seattle, he met one young lady and they started a relationship. And I guess the relationship was fine for a while, but then Joshua became very possessive, very jealous, and really did not like this girlfriend to do anything. Anywhere this girlfriend went, he had to be there. He just wanted to possess her everywhere. She couldn't even visit her family without him being there. So finally, after a time, she told him, I'm going to visit my family. Please stay home. I'm going to be fine. I'll call you when I get there. All of that. So she does go and she visits the family. And when she goes, she basically escapes. And she never comes back. She actually calls Joshua and breaks up with him over the phone. And that was the end of that particular relationship. Now, that was about 1998. Just a second, guys. Need a little bub in there. So then in the year 2000, he met Susan, who was going to be Susan Powell. She also was a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, and they met at what was called the Institute of Religion, and they were taking some classes there. And they began the relationship, and it was fine. And then in 2001, they ended up getting married. Now, they also had two children, two little boys. One was born in 2005 and one was born in 2007. They were very young boys when this whole thing happened. But before the boys were born, for a while, Joshua and Susan, who they were now married, moved in with his dad. Even though the mom and dad had divorced, they moved in with the father. And the father started his weird behavior automatically with Susan. He became absolutely obsessed with Susan. He was so obsessed he would follow her all around the house, and mostly he would have a camcorder recording her every move. He even had a mirror that he would slide under the bathroom door so that he was able to see what she was doing in the bathroom with the door closed. He was that obsessed with her. At one point, he finally admits to her that he's absolutely in love with her and they should be together. And of course, Susan immediately is, absolutely appalled with this. She rejects him, and then she tells Joshua, her husband, Stephen's son, We got to move out of this house. I can't stay here anymore. And so they did move, and they left the house altogether. Now, once Joshua and Susan got on their own, it wasn't too long before they had the children, but then there started to be marital discord. And in fact, once the police were searching for her, Susan's adult journal was found. And in there, she spoke of marital discord. That's the way she said it. There was tensions always through the marriage, primarily because Stephen was not wanting to go to the Mormon church with the family anymore. He had a terrible spending habit on all types of extravagant things. So much so that, he kept staying in touch with his dad when he promised that he wouldn't be in touch with him anymore, and he stayed staying in touch with him. So at one point in 2008, Susan created a video where she said, and I quote, "I want it documented that there's extreme turmoil in our marriage." She goes on to say, "If I die, it may be an accident, even if it may not be an accident, even if it looks like one," end quote. So she, at that point, knew that this marriage was not right for her. Why she didn't leave at that time, I do not know, but she did not leave. So now we're up to December 6, 2009, because the video was made 2008. 2009, it's December 6. Susan and the boys go to church, and they come home. And once they're home, they have a neighbor friend come by and sit and visit with her until about 4 o'clock. And then the neighbor leaves, and that's the last time anybody ever saw Susan. The next day, on December 7th, 2009, Joshua's mother and his sister are looking for Joshua and the family. They're calling, no one's answering. So they ride out to Joshua's house, and the mother sees her son's house is empty. The car isn't there. They had one vehicle that they shared, and she doesn't know what's going on. So then she calls the police. The police come out to the house, and they're knocking on windows and doors, and they're not seeing anything. They decide to break into the house. Their concern was that the family could have gotten intoxicated with carbon monoxide poison. So they wanted to go in and see if that was the case. When they went in the house, there was no carbon monoxide released in the house. But they did find that the couch was wet, and there were 2 box fans blowing it to dry the couch off. There was nobody in the house, but what they did find was Susan's purse and all her ID, her wallet and even her keys were still in the house. And they were completely baffled, like, where could she have been? They even called her job, and the job said no, she didn't show up for work that day. Now, on that same day of December 7th, on 2009, it wasn't too long after the police had gotten there and searched the house that Joshua shows up in their van. And the police are like, "Where have you been? Where's your wife?" He claims he didn't know where the wife was, and that he and the boys had went camping. Now, the police, they automatically, when it's a spousal situation, they always look to the spouse that's there as a possible suspect. But they did not say that to him, because right now they're still confused. However, they go into the van and they see that Susan's cell phone is in the van that Joshua was in. They also asked him when did he go camping? And he said that he went camping around midnight. And the boys were little at this time. They were only like 3 or 4. And he was wondering why would he take them out camping after midnight. And he came up with some story about taking them out. And the police even called his job to see, because the next day, that day, the 7th was Monday. And they called the job to see, was he ever coming into the job? And they said no, he never called in and said he wasn't, so they assumed that he was. So now this kicks off the investigation, because this is looking rather suspicious. But they've got to ask questions, without necessarily pointing the finger at Joshua. So when they went and investigated the house, they found that there were traces of Susan's blood on the floor in the house. There was some other fingerprint or blood content in the house, but it was someone that was unknown. They didn't know who this unknown person's DNA was. They also had found out that Joshua had a life insurance on Susan worth $1.5 million. In addition, with their searching, they found that Susan had written a note speaking about the fear for her life, and that if something happened to her, like I said in the video that she made, that it wouldn't have been an accident. She knew that this was coming. Joshua continued with his suspicious behavior. Not only did he have a $1.5 million life insurance, but he liquidated all her retirement account, her 401k. He canceled Susan's chiropractor appointments for the future. Appointments she haven't even attended. He canceled them like he knew she wasn't going to make it. He also had withdrew the children out of daycare. He had also spoken to a co-worker, allegedly, that the best place and how to hide a body in the Utah desert, western desert. Now, they talked to the kids, and the oldest son, although he was still a child, had mentioned that they did go camping like the father said, except mommy was there. But we were in the car and mommy was in the trunk. So now another teacher of this little boy's name was Charlie. Now Charlie's teacher, when they interviewed the teacher, said that Charlie had claimed that mommy was dead. She didn't know what to think. The other son, Braden, was younger, but he had drew a picture of a van with 3 people sitting up and mommy in the trunk. Now, on December 14th, Joshua kind of had an idea, I'm pretty sure, that the police were on to him. He didn't know about the statements his sons made, but he knew that this story is not going to hold up. So he ended up getting a lawyer, and he refused to cooperate with trying to find his wife. And on December 24th, once these pieces of evidence were put together, he was considered a person of interest. Now, on January 6th, Joshua and his brother Michael had gotten a moving van and went to his house, the Seattle house, and packed it all up and moved up to his hometown in Washington. The police also, after investigating not only Joshua but his brother Michael, because remember I told you there was unknown DNA in the house that night mixed into her blood that was on the floor. They investigated into Michael, and they found that Michael had a van, and they were able to use a GPS and locate the van, the lot that it was in. It was abandoned in a lot, and they found it. They took cadaver dogs out there, and then they were able to see that there had been a dead body in that van. But once Joshua and his brother Michael packed up the house, they moved everything to back to Utah, where they were from. Back to Washington State, where they were from. And they moved in with their father, Stephen, again. Now, the police actually spoke to the father, Stephen. Stephen claimed that he and Susan had this passionate love affair going on. That, in fact, was absolutely not true. But they ended up, when they started investigating on Stephen's information through his computer data, they found over 400 pornographic pictures of women and child porn and voyeurism. And so he was actually arrested for that, and he was convicted. At this point, Susan's family, the Cox family, decided it was time for them to step in. And they went and fought for custody for those 2 little boys. And they actually won custody, temporary custody. But they had a psychiatrist talk to Joshua. They found that Joshua had adequate parenting skills, and he was, a fine enough parent to take care of the boys. But they did find that, he seemed like he was a little bit suspicious around the death of his wife, okay? And that perhaps he had deeper problems than what was really known. But they were giving him the opportunity to have the child. Now, after the father had been involved with this pornography, or before he was actually sent to jail and charged, and the police were suspicious of him, they had told Joshua that he couldn't stay in the house with his boys there. He had to move out. So Joshua said, okay, he'd move out of the house. He did get a house, or he said he got a house and rented it. However, it turned out that he never even lived in the house. He continued to stay with his father and at his father's house, even now after the father had been arrested. So at this point, the social services were supposed to be there so Joshua could, have a visitation with the boys, and that social worker would be there, for the length of the visitation. But what happened on February 5th, 2012, was horrible. The social worker came by with the boys to do a visitation with Joshua. She knocked on the door to come in like she usually had, but this time he snatched the boys from her, pushed her back outside, and closed the door. Once he grabbed his son and brought him in the house exploded, killing the boys as well as himself. Now, the autopsy showed that prior to the boys even dying in the explosion, their bodies had been hacked up and chopped up with a hatchet. So now they were dead. His brother, Michael, ended up moving to Minneapolis, Minnesota. He was going to work on his graduate degree. When he got to Minnesota, and the police were starting to look at him more and more, because they felt like it wasn't just Joshua, it was Joshua and his brother that were involved in this crime. Michael climbed on top of the roof and jumped off the roof and killed himself. Now, this is not the end of it. In the end, the mother-in-law, Joshua's mother, and his sister, allegedly, tried to declare Susan dead. Susan is not their child, okay? She was an in-law. Her parents are living, okay? They tried to declare her dead so that they could collect the $1.5 million insurance. And ultimately, Susan's family blocked all that, and then that case was, of course, overthrown. Stephen did get incarcerated for the voyeurism and the child pornography, and he was released from jail after 7 years, and he eventually died of natural causes. Boy, if that is a family dysfunction, I just don't know. I want to I've looked at their birthdays somewhat, but what I really want to do is some cards. I try to look at the tarot, I look at their birthdays, and I want to look at some cards, but just for the record, looking at Susan, her birthday, October 16th, 1981, says that she was always a very independent young lady. She stood on her own 2 feet. She could have made it herself. The marriage gave her nothing. She's got a 16 in the middle, and that tells me that number one is that she had to be the sole person taking care of everything. She had to be the leader, even more so maybe than she wanted to. It told me her number 9 life path says that she really loved life. Okay, she loved life, every aspect of it. She was a true humanitarian. People, animals, causes, that got her passionate about anything. But she was always there for everybody else. Always that person, didn't want to go out and try to, just focus on me, but she was always looking backwards to who can I help? And being that she was that helper person, Joshua, who was automatically had psychological issues because of the way he was raised, would be a magnet for her. They would be magnets for each other. Susan knew that marriage was over because her birthday, her personal year was a number 9. A number 1, excuse me. That's her personal year from October 16th, So she knew the marriage was over. And in fact, that number one year says that she was planning to leave herself. If he didn't leave, she was going to leave. It was as if she was going to have to find an escape route, though, just the same way the girlfriend was able to by pretending to go to her parents. Susan didn't have that, but she wanted that. She was going to do that for sure. Joshua, on the other hand, is a number one. So, and ill-dignified at that, meaning that he was the negative part of number one. Selfish, solo, my way. I'm the boss. I'm the leader. Do what I say. He also was in a number 7 life at that point. His January 20th would have put him at a number 1. And he really was about life slowing down, things harder, things not going the way he wanted to, money not coming in the way he wanted to. Thus, he got that account, that particular life insurance for $1.5 million, thinking that was going to solve his problems. But ultimately, money doesn't make you happy. But that was the plan any way he could. He was a Capricorn, Taurus rising, Capricorn. This dude was controlling. A Mercury in Aquarius, that's all fixed signs. And he was very controlling, very, very stubborn beyond anything. His Mars was in Jupiter, which meant that he could do the crime. I mean, in Gemini. His Mars is in Gemini, meaning he could do the crime and then he could lie and get away with it. Or he could fast talk his way out of it. That was his gift in life, his gift of gab, his being able to think super fast on his quick and change the story and manipulate and make it the way he wanted to. His Saturn is in Cancer, which made him very emotionally insecure. That is why he tried desperately to possess the other girlfriend. That is why he was going to possess his wife. He's going to possess his children. Those were his possessions, like a lamp or a table or whatever. It didn't matter how they felt. It's what remember that number 1 life path. It was what I want and what I wanted to do. She had a rising in Sagittarius, a sun in Libra, and a moon in Gemini. It means that she was very smart. She spoke her truth, period. And sometimes it could be a little harsh, but she spoke direct. She spoke right to it. She didn't hold anything back. Sometimes she couldn't decide, and that's what kind of was her stumbling block in leaving this marriage, her lack of ability to make a real clear decision to say, I'm going. It was, I want to go, but then the boys. I want to go, and then my family. And that was really a hard spot for her. Her Mars is in Leo, which means that she could get very upset as well. She could get very explosive. She could get even condescending and want to dominate. So there was really a battle of wills there. So what I want to do, first of all, is I want to look at side by side. I'm going to look at Michael and I'm going to look at Joshua to see which one did it. And then we're going to speak to Susan. I have a particular set of cards, and it's a tool just so I can speak to people, if she'll come through, that have passed over. So let me look at... Ooh, and that, he's got a Mars in Gemini. Sorry, guys. He has a Mars in Gemini. So that Mars in Gemini means if he's going to do the dirt, he'd like to do it with someone. Oh, yes. Yes, yes. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. He'd like to do it with someone. It's a twin sign. It's a double sign. Yeah, he would do it with someone, and it was Michael. I'm sure of it. But I'm going to take a look and see what my cards say. Did Michael... and Josh will do this together. I'm just looking at them side by side. Okay, so looking at Joshua, first we have the 5 of cups for him. As I look at, did they do this together, or did one of them do it anyways? I think they did it together, though. That's what Spirit tells me, and I have to trust that. So he felt very disappointed in the marriage. This is Joshua. Feeling like he wanted to walk away, not going to walk away. That stubbornness wouldn't let him walk away, but wanting to. He also was worried about money. This is the material, or 7 of Pentacles. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. That's better. 7 of Pentacles. He was very worried about money and things. And so he really was thinking about this opportunity. And this thinking about money was, how can I get money? What can I do? Knowing that he was going to have to make this choice. And that is why he was very disappointed. His disappointment came from him knowing, I've got to make this decision to make this money. I've got to do this. And this is him. This is the Fool. Let's see if you guys can see that better. I don't know. Sometimes it's blurry, sometimes it's clear. But this is the Fool, but it was in reverse. This is really about taking a risk, starting fresh, leaving everything behind. But instead, no, this is him being a fool. When it's upside down, it is, you are a fool. Your choice, your decision is a fool. Your choice, your decision is not going to move you forward in the way that you want to materially. The thing about Taurus and Capricorns, their thoughts are always about money. Their thoughts about having plenty of nice things. And he did have a very extravagant spending habit. So he had to have the money. And I don't know if he was going into bankruptcy or a big thing was due, but this was the plan. 2 of Wands, 2 of Inspirations. This is the plan that he had. This is his plan. This is him doing that. What part did Michael play in there? Michael has the Priestess card, the High Priestess. He's like, I didn't think of this, but I will work with you. Almost as if he was a Scorpio. I don't know what he is, but this is, I'm going to work, I'll do this with you. I'll keep it secret. I won't tell you. I won't tell on you. I will help you, but I'm not going to say anything, but I'll work with you. He's got the 3 of Swords, excuse me, saying that he is really heartbroken, okay? He was really heartbroken. Oh, I get it. Because he got on the roof and jumped off. So once this crime happened, he was really heartbroken about, I was part of this. He wasn't going to be able to face the music. He's got the 10 of Cups in reverse. So, no, his secrets were coming out completely. There's no happiness here. There's no joy here. There is deep depression, deep sadness. And then he's got the 5 of Inspirations, the 5 of Wands in reverse, that he's struggling in his mind, a mental fight in his mind that he can't overcome, and he's got to kill himself. They did this. Joshua was disappointed, feeling sad. However, he needed the money more than anything else. Money over everything. That is a Capricorn way. Some Tauruses are like that. Tauruses are more possessive of things. They like nice things, but they won't do anything for money. Capricorns can be, Capricorn men, I'm telling you right now, they can be more aggressive. They can be very stubborn. They can be extremely controlling. Both those 2 signs can be. And he's got a rising and a sun, and very controlling. Yeah, so his was the plan. He told his brother, this is what we're going to do. His brother, out of, I'll keep your secret, I'll do it with you, I don't really want to do this, this is really going to hurt me, but I'll do it. And then he does it, but he can't live with himself anymore. All of a sudden, he's just absolutely heartbroken, crying, can't undo it, knows what he's done is wrong, because at the end of the day, even though Joshua was a Mormon, of course, Michael was too, and they were raised in the church. So the burden of guilt would have been extremely heavy on them, and more so on Michael than it was on Joshua. And Michael took his life for that. And yeah, wow. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Let me see if we can talk to Susan before we go. Guys, if you like the channel, please subscribe, thumbs up, leave a comment. Tell me if you ever heard of this case. Share, share, share. Let people know about this case. Susan cried out for help. And I think it kind of like behooves us to say, hey, Susan, we remember you. We heard of you. We know who you are. Or if you didn't know, now you know. Susan. Ooh. These cards are... Oh, these are my star. These are Syrian star seeds tarot. They're huge. I only use them for one thing and one thing only. And they do allow me to speak to those who have crossed over. Susan. Susan Powell. Can I speak to Susan Powell? If you're watching this channel, by the way, I have another channel, Joyce All Knowing Tarot. Check that channel out. It's a good channel. I've got some good things coming. I've got a live with Celtic Tarot Sheila on this coming Wednesday at 8. In addition, the following Wednesday, I've got this great energetic healer that's going to come to us and talk to us. It's going to be live. That'll be on October 21st. I'm so excited for you guys to hear about her and hear her inputs on how she knew that Biden was going to win. She'll talk to us about a lot of things. Life, death, manifesting. It's just going to be conversations that we're having. So please feel free to come in and talk with us. She was in my numerology class. Her name is Veronica. And yeah, I can't wait for you guys to meet her. Okay, Susan. Susan was pretty. I see her in my mind. She's a pretty girl. Susan, are you here? Okay, first of all, she tells me that she had a lot going on. She was juggling a lot of things. Guys, I'm back. I had to try to move it so you could see the cards better. So she's got the 5 of Orbs. She had a lot of things going on. She was trying to juggle a lot. Her husband, her children, just her life in general. She felt very much alone. Like, she had friends and stuff, but there was this empty loneliness that was with her. Like, okay, I have this marriage and he wants me there, but for what? She says that she ascended. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So we know that she's gone, that she has ascended to another level, a higher energy vibe. But check it out. I wanted to know where was she, and I get that 8 of Orbs. Take a look. This is her. She is underground. She is tangled up. Let's see if you can see that. If you can see that. She's tangled up in all kind of like tree trunks, grass. They've closed the case. They've never found her. But she is near water. She's near a stream. She's under, she's in a soft part of earth or dirt. That is can you see the person in the middle? There she is. And she's all tangled up in these weeds, roots, what have you. That's where she is. She is there. But she's got the adaptive challenges, and she has moved on. Okay, she's ascended, she's moved on, and she is very happy. Like, when people pass over, they don't keep any grudges or anything like that. She says that she has reflected on that. That's what this is, reflection. And that's like the Hermit card. And she's learned the lessons of love and forgiveness that she needed to learn. She learned that she was never stuck that only she thought she was stuck, but in reality she was never stuck, and she was always free to go. She's sort of gotten the aha now, which will happen to everybody once we cross over. We'll see what our reasons are. And then lastly, she gets the Three of Flames, and she's very happy, and she's free. We've seen all the energy. She's got her energy back, and she's light. She's got her purity in this white dress, and she's just alive and very happy. And maybe we'll come back. That'll ultimately be up to her. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening. That was Susan Powell. Please subscribe, share, share, share. Watch my other channel, Joyce All Knowing Tarot. And leave a comment and tell me what you think. Have a great night.